Finding the right balance is key when it comes to making mobile games. You can build the most interesting experience in the world, but if you get your save points wrong and players keep losing progress because they have to put their phone down, you've definitely gone wrong somewhere. Which is what makes F1 mobile racing so interesting. It tries to bridge the gap between the casual and the hardcore, offering short blast races that you can tailor to your own skill level. Sometimes it works really well, other times it does fall a bit short. A lot of that's down to the slightly wonky matchmaking, which will hopefully start to change now the game is out across the world. As you might expect from an F1 game bearing the Codemasters logo, F1 mobile racing is an impressive looking beast. The tracks are recreated pretty much perfectly, and there's the full roster of drivers from the current season as well. But you're not playing as any of them. Instead, you're playing yourself, building up a car as you go and racing against other players from across the world. You can upgrade your car with cards, which you receive from beating other people. These take quite a while to unlock though, and speeding them up costs currency. It means the metagame surrounding your driving is going to be instantly familiar to anyone who's ever played a mid-core game. It's very Clash Royale, but for the most part it works fine. The game augments that meta with some more interesting ideas too, which are designed to entice more advanced drivers. For example, to start with, all the driving assists are turned on and you can choose whether to use touch, tilt, or a combination of the two to control your car. But you can alter the driving assists whenever you want, upping the difficulty if you're on the lower settings, or making things easier if you keep smashing into the walls. When you're not on the racetrack, you can customize your car, adding new components you earn from races, or just playing around with the look of it. You can never underestimate how enjoyable it is to change the colors of digital things. There's a simple single player option as well, where you can race against just AI opponents in single races. It's fine, but it doesn't really aid your progression or have the edge that racing against other people does. Just look at it as a practice mode for the tracks or the corners you're not familiar with, rather than the core of the game. That core is the multiplayer, but matchmaking is not great, and sometimes you're going to find yourself being beaten by opponents who just have more powerful vehicles than you do. We had a couple of matchmaking crashes during our time with the game as well. It's not the end of the world, and when everything works the way it should, you end up with one of the most brilliantly portable racing games we've seen on the App Store. It's just that things don't work the way that they should in multiplayer all the time, and when multiplayer duels are the only way you can progress, this can be massively frustrating. It's a valiant attempt at doing something different, especially with a more hardcore subgenre like a Formula 1 game. And with games being tweaked and updated all the time nowadays, it wouldn't take much for it to win the race rather than crashing out just before the finish line. It's a promising starting point, and by all means pick it up and give it a go. But be prepared for the kind of annoyances that could well put you off the game before you get too deep in.